Waithaka.
Yes, sir.
Ulikata pasta, ulisema unakula pasta mobu kwa maju. You wanted some mokimo. Mutura pole bana, tuko jumpsuits. Jumpsuits doesn't do those things.
Sawa, chicken wings zimefanya tu kazi.
Okay, so at least it's like a small base.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue this conversation. Thus far, now you understand how the conversation ends up being 10 hours long. Eh?
Oh, now, oh my God.
Rabbit holes. But in the process, people are learning a lot. So I think I just want to say thank you. Okay. Musically, where we are at right now, introduction of Kwame.
Yes.
Okay, let's walk this journey.
So, how I came about Kwame, Sasa, this is where you come in. And, you know, you were sending me those remixes. And in the mix of all of that, the videos you are posting, I see this guy called Kwame. And I think it was Mola. But it was such an R&B song, but sung in Swa. And I was like, this is it. And I think the last person that had done something like that was Swahili Nation. And some older stuff. Because I remember the way I remember...
Maybe Dij?
Was it before? Yeah, Dij. Yeah.
Dij.
Yeah, he had already put out his album.
Yeah, Dij came much after Swahili Nation.
Yeah, no, but he had put out his album before Kwame. Yeah, because Vintage Swahili came out when?
It came out way before Kwame. Maybe... Because
that was the...
2004?
Yeah, that was the thing that they... Because then they went to competition in SA. Yeah. So that was... After, I think there was a hiatus where he wasn't there, and then there wasn't that kind of music as pop as much. There was a lot of, you know, Ogopa, and then Caliph Records, you know, was coming up. Then as time goes on, I think, was it Jomino that came afterwards?
Yeah.
But, I mean, me, I'm all over the place with the timeline. But I remember the two groups that were really doing a lot of music was Ogopa and Caliph. And then, so Kwame shows up and I'm like, okay, this guy, I need to know who this guy is. And somehow I realized you knew each other. Yeah,
I was even on that Mola song.
Yeah, you were on the Mola song. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is... So I knew you were my connect. And somehow we got connected. And we got connected around 20... You connected us around 2010, 2011.
Yeah, it must have.
But we never got to meet until 2012. So my first...
It's so funny. We had such similar... Let me just say this. We had a lot of similar tastes because for me, Kwame was somebody who I had one time. Again, I've got this love for R&B. In fact, when I forced to be on that song, dropped a verse. But after that, entered sort of like a mentorship with him.
Yes.
Just because of his gifting and his sound.
His sound.
There was something...
His songwriting ability.
Yep.
His voice. His voice is very unique. But also, one of the best thing about him is like, he sees the product from start to finish with the song. And that's stuff that I've come to learn as time has gone with him. He's very creative. And not then, like, you know, I think I searched for a friendship more with him than wanting to work with him as a musician, because I felt like it was one of those, like, because I was like, I really want to work with this guy, but it was in a way that I wanted it to be impactful. I didn't want it to be like a one-time thing. So I wasn't in a rush. What was that
special thing that you found in Kwame? Let me ask, or that made you want to really record with him?
His like his natural talent and his honesty in the way he presented what he was talking about. Because I remember the song Mama, you know, by Howie, where he sang the hook. I was like, wow, okay, he gave that song life, because, you know, it's a rap song, but when he came on a chorus, he really sounded nice. And then also, like, there's an ad-lib that he did, and it stuck with me in that song. And I'm like, oh, wow, he did that. And I was like, okay. Then his songwriting ability is like, he can tell a story. Yeah. You know, in his music. And as that was really presented well in Maisha, one of his first videos.
Nimeishi maisha ya shida, mateso na chuki na nimevumilia. I'm wiping my tears, I will cry no more. Nimeona mwangaza, sitalia. Nakumbuka nimeyoyapitia, maisha magumu na mimi bado mchanga. Kapoteza mzazi, maisha kanigeuka. Nimelala njaa, katembea bila viatu, nguo zenye viraka. Nilichoka na maisha, lakini sasa nimeona mwangaza. Mola yunami, kama nimeweza, wewe utaweza rafiki. Nimeishi maisha ya shida, mateso na chuki na nimevumilia. I'm wiping my tears, I will cry no more. Nimeona mwangaza, sitalia. Hey, we mzazi, mwenye kuwaza, Bwana alikuwaga.
And I watched that, and then I see Bruno Silali's name. Then I remember Bruno Silali was part of, you know, DJ's album. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay. Then the more I find out, I see, oh, okay, he also knows Ythera, Kembi, who you're friends with, who is like one of guys that, you know, we are friends. We talk online. We've never met, but we've really talked. We exchange ideas, exchange songs. He'll ask me, hey, what have you been up to? Then he poteas, then we connect back again. And he, you know, I started hearing stuff that he was doing. And I remember like the song that the song that resonated with me on Vintage Swahili the most, apart from Sazingine, is actually Johari La Zanzibar. I read the credits and I see him all over it. I'm like,
Ythera now.
Yeah, Ythera, yeah. I'm like, wow, okay. These guys are doing what I want to do. Then that, you know, years later, then I'm seeing him in credits for your stuff. I'm like, okay. I'm going in the right direction because he's also working in Kwame and everything. So I meet Kwame, we get to talk.
So you don't come, you don't meet him in Kenya?
No, I met him in Kenya.
Okay, so
the first time...
good question. First time that you came home?
First time I came home was in 2010.
After 10 years?
After 10 years.
Yo.
Yes.
Bro.
And I'm telling you, when I talk about reverse culture shock, I don't know if that's a word or something, but we were on Mombasa Road coming from the airport and I see someone cross the road running and my dad has floored that car. Me, my foot was on like an imaginary brakes. Because that was the first time I'd seen someone running across a highway.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing when we got on Mombasa Road. I remember the first thing that I said, like, wow, there's a lot of people on the highway. And I was like, wow, you can forget easily. You know, you can become detached easily because you relocate and now your life becomes out there. It's your new home, you know.
Okay, just give me a sec. Want to just close something? Okay, so just continue with this story.
So
guys are running across Mombasa Road.
Yeah, and then also the other thing was like we landed, and I was flying in the US to different states and everything. I don't remember being in any airport where I actually walked off the plane and then you were walking on a thing to get into the... So
it hit you fast.
Yeah. But it like that feeling of being home after all these years, you know, just the African sun, the African environment, you know, being home. And I was like, man, I'm home after 10 years.
Did you see changes in infrastructure? Did you see changes and be like, yo, this place has endeared?
I found changes. Like the first time I came, I think they had started the bypass. No. That was the second time. The first time I came, there was changes. But Thika Road was the same.
Yeah.
Mombasa Road was the same, but there was more buildings. there's more businesses coming up. But when we reached Ruiru, where we used to live, I was like, holy, this place is congested. And I'm looking around, I'm like, was it always like this? And, so that night I couldn't sleep because you're hearing guys just walking outside and talking, I'm like, oh my goodness. Then the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes were loud. But the second day, I found my switch.
Yes, yeah.
And I turned it on and I was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the one thing that I took time with is driving. The first time I came to Kenya, I didn't drive for 2 weeks. Because
you're like, matatus is something you need to accustomed to.
That was something
Don't worry, till today we need to.
Yeah, but now, man, I even drive myself from the airport as soon as I get here. Yeah. So now I'm okay. But then it was really, I think I needed to, it's like,
understand.
Now they say you have, what is it with this COVID thing where like you have to isolate? So I had to readjust. So I needed a time period to readjust, and once I figured out everything, and also like you've been driving on the other side of the road there, the last couple of years.
Oh yes.
Then here, it's more aggressive driving over here. So it took time, but
you did it.
I did it.
Let me ask. And did you think of reinvest at this time? You don't have you don't have any children, huh?
No, not yet.
You're not even married.
I am.
Oh, you are. Yeah? At this time you're married. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually because of the card and all those things.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. How can we leave that huge chapter out? But I just want to understand. You're coming back home.
Okay.
Was it just like I hadn't been home in a while?
Of course.
I wasn't able to come home.
Oh yeah, that was a big part. It was a big part that I didn't do any music. I just came back. Yeah, I just came back and didn't even try to work on any music because I just wanted to see people, see family. I hadn't seen my bro in 10 years. I'd seen him, we'd been talking, but I hadn't seen him in 10 years, my younger bro. I left when he was 15, I came back when he was 25.
Yo.
Yeah.
That must have been different, eh?
Oh, yeah. I left him as a kid. I'm meeting a grown man. So that, I think that...
Family is what you loved about coming home.
Yes.
The people.
That was a wake-up call because I realized how long it had been when I looked at him.
What didn't you like?
About here? At that point, I was just happy to be here.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. What I didn't like is that whole time period I couldn't come.
Okay.
I'd been seeing my parents, but I hadn't seen my bro in like
You hadn't seen your bro. You had lost a granddad. You hadn't seen friends.
I hadn't seen friends, yeah. But I was able to reconnect with some of my friends. So... and these are people that I still keep in touch with now. There's a friend called Chris. Chris, he's been one of my biggest supporters. To a point like when I was starting, working with Kwame and everything, he chipped in, when I was like, hey, we need to shoot a video for Kwame. He's like, good, okay. How can I help?
And he's here?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay, so let me ask this question. From a investment perspective, had you thought of investing in Kenya, or was your way of investing in Kenya music?
Of course, I'd been, I'd thought about investing in Kenya in terms of like land. And being from a Cube family, they're like, hey, Teri, they call it Teri.
Yeah.
Even Jugush was talking about it. So a lot of what Jugush was saying, I can relate to because, we value, in Kenya, land is could be the only thing a lot of people can say they have something of value. So,
okay, here that's such a good... This leads me to my follow-up question. Again, I'll bring up in the conversation of land, I've got a pal who we started up a channel called Own Land in Kenya.
Yeah.
Goshen Acquisitions. I mean, and his biggest clients are from the diaspora just because of how Kenyans have been from the diaspora have been conned.
Yeah.
And these guys are not conned by strangers. They're conned by family members.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had your dad's character. I'm 100% sure he hasn't conned you.
No.
But what would you say, was that another safety net then in terms of you investing? Did you go and sit down with your dad, ask him questions?
No. He just told me there's this investment over here. But remember, before I left, I had been seeing him dealing with that and investing those things. So I
Also
knew,
from the diaspora, you just sent him cash to invest.
actually that whole time, no, I hadn't. I didn't invest for the first 10 years. Now when I came, that's when now
the
you're
conversation
married.
started. Yeah.
Now you're thinking about the future. Before then, I was like, hey, you're just a bachelor.
Yeah, I get it.
With a girlfriend, and you just. And I think I didn't kick out of survival mode for a very long time.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, even up till then, I was still in I was still going in with life in survival mode.
Okay.
Yeah. So my biggest investment at that point for those 10 years was actually my music, because I bought gear.
Yeah.
Like I was investing in songs, studio time,
I get it.
and all of that. So instead of buying land here, that's what I was doing over there.
Okay. But so you didn't buy land that first time when you came?
I did.
Okay, but you went to see the land and bought it?
No.
You just talked to your dad?
Yeah.
Hooked him up with the cash?
Yeah.
You knew he was going to sort
We
out
made
everything?
a plan and he sorted it.
Oh, nice.
And because it's also the other thing is like, my dad is like, hey, this will be yours, this will be your brother's, and this will be your other brother's.
Yeah.
So we've already talked about it. He's done that. He's told us.
That's another, man, dude, again, rabbit holes with you. So first and foremost, by the time you're investing back home, in your head somewhere, home is always home. Home
is always home. And remember I told you, my mom told me one thing. Hamjafukuzwa nyumbani. That always stuck with me. So I knew home is home.
Yeah.
And that's why to me, like, coming every couple of years is very important. Because yes, I might have another home, but this is where I was born, this is where I was raised, this is where my parents are. So I just can't give up on home.
I get that.
And my parents are living here.
Okay.
My brother is still here. My friends are still here. I still have an attachment because unlike a lot of people who probably went straight out of high school, I got to spend 2 years after high school in Kenya.
I get it.
So I experienced life after high school in Kenya here for a while.
Is the thought of ever coming back to live in Kenya, Ama, you don't know about that?
It is. But once you get a family, that is not up to you alone.
What's the fear about somebody from the diaspora coming back home?
It's usually, the fear is usually based on your children. And what they're familiar and you're familiar to, safety nets, such stuff.
Yeah, are they able to survive here? Is there opportunities here?
I don't even think surviving is an issue as if they get sick. The services that I'm used to getting over there, that I'm already accustomed to, how am I going to get them here? Like where we live, you call an ambulance, it's there quick.
Yeah.
A fire truck is there quick. In Kenya, Nairobi has how many fire trucks for the whole city? Those are the kind of questions like a lot of people in the diaspora ask themselves. Okay, if I'm giving up living in the US to come back to Kenya, what are the pros and cons? Is it worth the sacrifice? Am I ready to put my family through all of that? If you are by yourself, you can come. Because you're used to it. But now if you're dragging kids here, that's a conversation you have to have with your spouse, your kids if they're grown. Yeah, so most of the people aim for retirement. Yeah.
I hear you. Let me first sort out, let me get a financial cushion.
Yes. Let me sort my kids out.
Let me even sort out homes here. Let me start building, using the finances I'm getting
to build a home.
So when Kenyans are here conning guys in the diaspora,
you are actually taking money out of their retirement. That's their retirement plan. A lot of people that's a retirement plan.
Guys,
at least the ones that I know.
Yeah. Guys are grinding 6 jobs, 5 jobs,
4
jobs, 3 jobs.
Retirement in the US is expensive. Healthcare is expensive in the US. Healthcare might be better in terms of
cost.
Treatment.
Yeah.
No cost.
No.
Especially if you don't have insurance.
Cost here.
Yeah, and also service. So I've been to a couple of hospitals here, and then, you know, I've been to a couple of hospitals back in the US, and you can see the difference. Yeah, even just the attitude of the staff.
Yeah, that's
sometimes. You know, like there's a couple of things. Like if you're in a you know, industry like where you're supposed to provide a service, especially, you know, healthcare, which is very sensitive, and people are vulnerable at that time. You know, why add on misery to someone that's already suffering? Exactly. Yeah. So those are the things like we look at. You're like, okay. And then if I can afford that kind of service, it's expensive. But is it worth? Is it equivalent? Like, is it really worth what they're charging? Yeah. Yeah. You start asking yourself, because you have something else to compare it to. Yeah. You know, I keep saying a lot of Kenyans think get the diaspora pluck money from trees. You know what I mean? Constantly not understanding how much work that they put to get that money that they are sending you. It's part of the reason why I wanted to do this show, because I sometimes really get pissed off with the fleecing that Kenyans at home do to their relatives, their family, friends, their friends from abroad. You get? Yeah. I always say when you find someone you can trust, starting with your parents to friends, you're a lucky person. You know, because when you hear the stories, and these are not stories that are unique to Kenyans. We talk with like remember the company I was telling you I worked in for 13 years. Yeah. Now I think I was one of 2 Kenyans in there. Everybody else was either Ghanaian, Sierra Leonean, Nigerian, Liberian, and either from Guinea. Guinea. So from 2003 to 2013, I interacted a lot with West Africans. Yeah. And there's a lot of similarities, and also there's a lot of differences in how we deal with things. But that whole thing about being fleeced by families, relatives, friends, that's a common story. It's an African trait. Yes. And it's one sad one, because, I mean, these are people who have really like worked 3-4 shifts in like one pay period. So someone is going from one job to the other to the other. They don't go home until weekends. They have clothes in their car for changing to go from one place to the other. Some are students. You know, someone is going from overnight job to school, then back to work. They're paying their school fees, they're taking care of family at home, and they're still trying to build for their parents or build for themselves. And then stuff like that happens. Okay. It's good to touch on this side. I know it's a negative side about, but that's part of the reason why we're doing this whole conversation, because this is the reality. Yeah, we have to be honest about it. We have to be honest. Otherwise, if we're not honest about it and really talk about it, then we can't bring about change. Yeah. If we don't show the different perspective from a Kenyan side, from somebody in the diaspora, I mean somebody at home and somebody in the diaspora, it's not really helping the situation. Anyway, so back to you. So you come home the first time, you don't meet Kwame. I don't meet Kwame. You're having conversations online. First, when I come home, first of all, now me when I left home, you know, cell phones were just with like big dogs. I'm coming here, you know, there's cell phones everywhere. Then there's this thing called, and it's hilarious because I call it MPESA. I didn't know it's MPESA. And when I tell you, like, there's a buddy who laughed at me. He's like, "What did you say?" I'm like, MPESA. He's like, "What? What's that?" It's the Faricom thing, and it's like, "No, it's MPESA." Oh man, I was like, "Oh god." Maybe she can share the words together, and it's like MPESA. It made sense to me, so I was like, so I left it at that, and they had I remember we were on a live, and they laughed for like 5 minutes. MPESA. Yeah, on that one. So there's that. I'm like, wow. So that's I'm just That's so I'm seeing how it's working. I've heard about it, but I've never really been in a situation where like I'm using it. Now I'm using it. I'm like, okay, so my bro is showing me how you send money, how you receive money. And I think back then that's when like the minutes, you know, like it was so expensive to call.
Yeah.
So as we are coming here, we load up as much as possible. Then we are calling, and then we are forgetting, and you're just on the phone. You're going to tell someone something, and they've already hung up. Because it's those ones of like, say what you want to say and hang up. Because man, I don't have minutes or whatever. Because over there it's like monthly.
Yeah.
So you have this amount of minutes. So and most of the times you don't finish.
Yeah.
You have rollover minutes here.
Yeah.
It's what we call prepaid.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that. So I think I was so interested in what was going on that I was just absorbing. Remember, it's been 10 years. So I'm just absorbing, like seeing how things have changed, for the good. Others haven't changed at all. You know, how the others have changed for the bad, but I could see the change. I could see the progress.
Okay.
Yeah. Because me, when I left, I didn't know any other president other than Moi.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So you come back, do you come back to, you come back to Kibaki.
Yeah, I came back to Kibaki.
Yeah.
His last, when he was about finishing.
And Kibaki brought a lot of economic change to the country.
There was a lot of change, you know, like...
Thika Road wasn't done.
That's what I'm trying to think.
Thika Road was done,
when did it start?
Hey, Thika Road started as soon as Kibaki geared the situation.
Okay, yeah, the one that wasn't done was... Yeah, Thika Road was
Bypass
done.
wasn't done.
Yeah, you're right.
Thika Road was...
Yeah, Thika Road was done. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Thika Road was... Kibaki's... We know him for that. And education.
Yeah, Thika Road was... Yeah, because... Okay, yes, it was done because... we went to Mombasa Road all the way. Chukwa, now Wangari Maathai. Back then was like Forest Road. Thika Road. To Ruiru.
Yeah,
it was done, and I'm just over there. I was like, wow, okay. But to me, when it really hit me is when I went on Thika Road at night. You see all those lights, and you see the mini lanes. You're like, okay, all right, something like there's that change. Yeah, and a good one. Okay,
so let's go on now with this story. So when do you meet Kwame?
In 2012.
Is that where we are in the story right now?
No, so 2010, you know, I come and enjoy, I go to Coast, you know, I think that's like a pilgrimage. Lazima, you have to go over there after you've been away for long. Because one thing about Mombasa, like the beaches in the US don't look like. Like Mombasa is unique. And the only place that I went that I've gone to and I've felt close to Mombasa has been Cartagena, Colombia. And it feels just like Mombasa, but, you know, a little bit more, I don't know, developed, organized. But that's the only place that I've gone to that I feel the same. But there are, you know, like the Ocean City, which is the beach in Maryland, it's not like that. I've been to Corpus Christi. Yeah, what is called? You know, okay, here you call them coconut trees. Are they the same palm trees and coconut trees?
No, it's
okay.
Potato.
They're not that many. Or you don't even see them. Like on that side, you don't see them until you get to probably Florida. Yeah. So then I went to Corpus Christi. It's nice, but it's different. Mombasa just has a different vibe. Yeah. So we go there and, you know, we came back, we were with a couple of friends, and I think we had a first experience. I always laugh at my friend. We were in North Coast, but we wanted to go to South Coast to explore. So we were told, oh, there's an island. We're like, oh, what's the name of the island? We're told Charlie. Okay. We decided we're going to go, you know, just check it out. Is that the adventurous side of like when we were kids? Like, let's go check it out. We get over there and we're like, oh, the island is over there. You can see it. But see, now there's the water in between. So we come back and we ask my friend asked the Wochi, how can we, you know, the soldier, how can we get over there? And he's like, so the guy looked at him. Wait, now, you know, I'm in a polo shirt and shorts and sandals. And my friend is in the same way. Actually, I'll send you that picture where we were holding mangoes. After we were looking for that place. looked at the guy like, sasa wewe unaona kama uko na pesa za kwenda huko. And my friend was like, what? So he came and told us, because as we were taking pictures, just looking at the ocean and everything, just appreciating.
Yeah.
So instead of us like supporting him, we laughed.
You died.
We laughed.
Yeah.
He's like, what? Yeah. So he's like, we're going. So he's like, he went and told the guy, Waite, call him to come and get us. Hey, his whole demeanor changed.
Yeah.
Okay, so he calls the guy, they come pick us with a boat, they take us over. We fika there, and I think we were the only black customers. And it was full of, like, Europeans.
Yeah.
And we are walking and we are loud, we are noisy, we are just talking. And now we are talking in Q because we're all from the same place. We're talking, we're loud, and the workers are just looking at us. So that's the other side of Kenya also. Like, I don't think I'd experienced before I left. I saw. And now it goes back to like, oh, okay. That privilege I was saying.
Yep.
Every step of the, there's levels to privileges.
Because in case somebody doesn't know, Charlie Island is probably one of the most, it's an exclusive island within South Coast.
Within South Coast.
And it is quite expensive, to
it
be
is
honest.
Expensive.
Yeah,
Because we got a day thing, and it was a lot. I think it was like $60 a person.
That's even kidogo.
No, $60 a person.
For Charlie Island it's
for a day.
Okay, for a day, just going there
and lunch and using the beach.
Okay.
I'm like, we're using the natural beach. I mean, but anyway.
But that beach is nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we took some nice pictures, man. We were like, okay, we're going to make the best out of this. We went, we ate, because it's a buffet, so which is part of, and then you get to use their facilities. They give you towels and everything. And we went on the beach. We swam in, playing volleyball over there, took pictures, walked around, because you can just walk around the island. And Jioni Fikas, and it has one of the most beautiful sunsets.
Yep.
And my friend took like some amazing pictures that whenever I share with people, they say, are you sure this is a real picture? Because they look like postcards. I'll send them to you.
Yeah.
They look like postcards.
Yeah, this one's here that we're seeing.
Yeah, no. So they look like postcards, and his name, he's also he's over there. He's a neighbor from Ruiru, but we're over there together. And that itself just kept on opening me up to like, okay, there's Kenya, and then there's what I see people calling premium Kenya. So I'm experiencing all these things, but also what I'm not knowing, like I'm making like a mental note of places that I'll come years later to visit. Yep. Because this time around, we usually go to North Coast. This time around we went to South Coast, and man, it was one. Now you come in full circle with your kids. The first time you came alone, now you're bringing your kids, and them appreciating how beautiful it is. Was me 10 years ago. Because I hadn't seen outside of Mombasa, of coast. So so I never got a chance. Which
for me is an amazing thing that you just brought up there that I need to point out. No Kenyan has seen everywhere in Kenya.
No.
So you may live here and become a diasporan with a certain perspective of Kenya.
Oh yeah.
And not to say that your perspective is wrong, but your perspective is incomplete.
It's what you know.
It's what you know.
Yeah.
So even coming back, yes, come back and explore what you know, but feel free to explore what you've never done. The Mara, the Naivasha, the Rally, all of these other crazy things all of these other new experiences that are there, or old experiences that maybe at that time you're not of age.
And also maybe you are not in a financial position to afford. But now
Charlie Island for sure.
I'm telling you, that one was a forced one. That was forced affordability. But it was worth it. Because it also teaches you some things like, hey, go for something. Because you never know what you're going to learn on the other side. So it's always good to take chances. And
even just put this plug and say, hotels, especially, I grew up going to South Coast my whole life. But hotels within South Coast one of the things that have changed about the tourism in Kenya, especially the coast, because they were hit by terrorism, Al-Shabaab, and all of these other things. Foreign tourism disappeared.
Yeah.
So it forced them to adjust to domestic tourism. So now what was only set out for premium Kenya is now accessible to a lot of Kenyans.
And we saw that this time around because
we did, huh?
We were a huge party. We were like 40.
Whoa.
So, and we appreciate like the way they, the way they treated us, and the dining stuff, the pool stuff, and then they got to really engage our kids. So our kids felt at home.
Yep.
Because that's
where did you go this time?
We went to Southern Palms.
Okay.
And trips, and then we were there was a trip that was arranged for Wasini by a guy called Joseph Mwango.
Nice.
And please look him up. He really, like, that's the highlight. The kids were like,
got to see the dolphins, the thing.
Man, I'm telling you, like snorkeling. Hey, I'm a good swimmer, but I reached to where you see the coral. Yeah. I saw how deep it is, and I grabbed onto the tube. I was like, no. And then the funny thing was also, my friend, we've always done things together because you end up having a community in the diaspora. So you remember the guy who I told you, the soldier told him, "Sasa uko na pesa za kwenda huko." We were with him again.
Yeah.
And when we were leaving, he said he didn't want to get out, so he was the last one. And he's over there. The guy is pulling him, and he's in the tube. The guy is pulling him, and him is just watching the corals. And then all of a sudden, he sees someone down there. And he's like, he pulls his head up out of the water, and he's trying to get the attention of the guy who's pulling him. He's like, hey, there's someone down. Then he notices there's no one over there. The person he's looking for is the one who's down. The guy who's pulling him is the one who's continues. So I'm like, you always have, you always have a highlight in whenever we travel somewhere. Yeah. But that's the joy. It was the best thing was actually seeing how our kids reacted to this trip, because it was one of those things. They were asked Florida or Mombasa, and they said Mombasa.
Yo,
yeah,
that must have been big for you.
Oh yeah, that's big time. And you're asking 11 different kids from different states.
Yo.
And you're like, Florida or Mombasa? They all said Mombasa in unison.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, I guess we have to try and make this some annual thing or biannual thing. You just have to prepare the pockets, because boy.
Yep.
But it was worth it.
It was, huh?
It was worth it.
Okay. Not to cut your story short, but I really want us to go back to this music thing, because Kwame, there's a Kwame story.
I know. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, sorry.
No. It's part of the story.
So I think I was trying to explain how I never got a chance to work with him.
That last time.
Yeah, because it was the first time back. So the second time back I came,